Hey friends, good to see you again. Welcome to my channel. And today we're going to be talking about politics. I am a medium and a psychic, and I receive my information from my guides. Although sometimes I do use tarot and or oracle cards to clarify things if I need to, especially if I'm getting information for myself. That helps me get my ego out of the way so I can get a clear, clean message. However, we want to talk today about President Trump, Vice President Pence, Nancy Pelosi, and a few other things. My last video, I talked about some pretty bold things, and the energy is still in play, obviously. One thing about our readings is timing cannot necessarily be very, see, I'm connected and I can't think of a word. It can't be precise because, first of all, we all have free will. Second of all, my time and their time, completely different, completely different. So what they said last time was that Trump is indeed sick with COVID-19. He is very sick with COVID-19. He has a lot of lung involvement. I understand right now he's on a steroid that basically is the Hail Mary of steroids. It is the steroid that you give someone when they're getting ready to have brain surgery or when they're going through a very, very, very serious health crisis. It's basically something that would, wake up a dead elephant, so to speak. So he is taking this steroid and he is acting like he's taking the steroid. He is very active. He's tweeting. He's kind of basically honestly talking out of his head, which is something that this steroid is known to cause in people. All you have to do is Google the steroid and you will see lots of information and first person accounts of what happened to them when they were on this steroid. So you have to ask the question, should this man even be acting as a president at this time? My opinion is no. He should step aside while he's taking this steroid, while he's combating this illness, and let Vice President Pence step in. But that's where it gets interesting. My guides will not back down from this. They are very serious. They are assure me President Trump is very sick. This steroid is actually causing his illness to be worse because it's not treating the illness. It's basically shoring him up it's basically a fake health, extender, if you will. He still has COVID-19. He still has underlying conditions that, frankly, the public doesn't even know about. He's had many strokes. It's very clear. One side of his face droops. It's clear that it's been, he's used collagen or different things to pump it back up and make it appear normal. Ask any nurse to look at his face, or especially any neuro nurse, and they can tell you immediately he's had many strokes. One side of his face is definitely sagging more than the other. So this man is not, the epitome of good health anyway, regardless of what he says. So, and the other thing is that he's combative. And that's one of the things the guide said before, was that he wasn't going to listen to his doctors. He was going to do whatever he wanted to do. And that was that. You can't make him do what, is the best thing, even for himself. It's just, he doesn't have his own best interest in heart because he really needs to stay in office. There's a whole other reason why that's the case. However, let's talk about his health some more. The guides tell me, this is the words I just heard, he's okay until he isn't, which, means that he's 1 minute, he's tweeting, he's doing the things that he does, even though we know it has diminished somewhat, right? But he's still doing some of those things. And then all of a sudden, boom, he's flat out. They show me him flat out on a gurney. It's the same thing that I've read in the last reading 3 days ago. They're still sticking with this energy. They still say this is in play. He's going to be flat out on a gurney. And that's when he's basically unable to speak and to, I guess what you would say is discharge orders. That's when Pence will be asked to step forward. Now, when is this going to happen? I feel like right around election time, is when I feel like this is going to happen. I feel like it's 7 to 14 days from now, although honestly, it's free will. He could stop taking the steroid. He could stop taking this experimental drug that he's taken for COVID-19. And that would change everything, right? That would change what's happening. I don't think it's going to change the outcome because my guides will not back down from this. They're putting all their bets on this. He's out. He's out cold. He's not able to govern. That's when Pence steps in. But here's the problem. Same thing I read in the last video. When Pence steps in, Pence is sick too. Somebody has a heart problem. The whole time my last reading, I was grabbing my chest because I could feel it. So sometimes they make me feel the ailment that the other person has, especially when I'm doing a mediumship reading. I will feel I can't swallow, or I will feel a severe headache, or even like a wrist, whatever physical ailment that spirit went through, and they want to use that as a validation to talk to their loved ones. I will feel it. So I was feeling this heart. So with Pence, I feel like he has circulation problems. I feel like carotid artery, stroke. I feel like there's some circulation, heart problems going on with him. So I feel like when he steps forward, it's almost like he's suddenly taken out. I think that it'll be strong and it'll be sudden, but I think he'll recover from it. But in that, time frame of where he's being treated for whatever it is that happens, whether it's a heart attack or a stroke or whatever, ischemic, they say these words to me, ischemic, anyway, whatever it is, obviously I am not a doctor. Whatever it is, that's when Nancy Pelosi has to step in and become acting president. They're still saying this is all going to happen. Even if she's only acting president for 5 hours or 5 days, these energies seem to be set in stone to a degree. I think we're close enough to them happening that they're going to happen. So there's not an opportunity for them to change. These are all things I talked about in the last video. So they're still saying this is going to happen. They also want to say to the American people, to you watching this video, to have hope and faith and follow the light. That's what they led with me when I did this video. And I do the videos because they tell me to. Because I'm not a video person. I don't even like photos of myself. So, so here I am, whether or not, it's good for me or not. They want Americans to know that the next 4 to 6 weeks are going to be the worst part of this whole process. The next 4, 6, maybe even 8 weeks are going to be really hard. And you just might imagine, how in the heck could it be any harder? But just imagine if Trump goes out and then Pence comes in and then Pelosi comes in. I mean, come on, that's going to just shake our country to its core. 20 to 30% of American people are going to be really upset at this. We're going to feel destabilized because our executive branch is not, stable, right? I mean, it's going to make us feel very destabilized, and they're showing me much the way we all felt after 9/11, when we were just shocked and we didn't know if we were safe in our town, whatever little town or big town or city you were in. All of a sudden, you didn't feel safe. You didn't know what was going to happen. That's the feeling they're showing me that I'm going to have and that you're going to have. And I just got chill bumps. So the reason this is so important for me to tell you is because they want you to know in advance, so that you know that when this happens, that everything is going to be okay. It's simply a process of unraveling. We have to unravel these players. These are all players in our, basically the whole Republican, a lot of senators, a lot of representatives, the Joint Chiefs of Staff, the president, the vice president, the president's cabinet, all of these players have to be disassembled so that we can move forward. Because we know that despite the situation being forget Republican or Democrat. The situation is dire. We are not, our democracy is at stake. So these people, some of these senators and Republican representatives or whoever, they could have stepped up and said, you know what, this isn't the way our country works, and we're not going to stand for this, and we're going to, stand with the majority of people and denounce this president's actions. But that's not happening. So, because just like the president, they won't take themselves out, they won't denounce the actions of the president. So they have to be taken out. I mean, I can promise you, America is going towards the light. There is no doubt in my mind. They show me it happening. We are transforming and transitioning to the light. But to get there, we're going to have to dismantle and deal with these people standing in our way. And that's where it's going to get really, really dicey, rocky, and tricky, and unstable, and create maybe some fear. Okay, so they want you to know that as we go forward and a lot of these people lose elections and Trump becomes ill and Pence becomes ill and they get voted out, that's a lot of change for this country. And some parts of our citizenry are not going to go along with this, and they're going to want to make that known, by either protesting or marching or forming militias or even doing violent acts. Whatever it is, it's just going to be very, very rocky. And we're going to get through it. We're going to get through it. There's going to be some violence. I'm sorry in advance. I'm sorry in advance. But those isolated situations, and they will be isolated, there will be multiple, but they'll be isolated, are going to be dealt with, and we're going to have to deal with even potentially any other people that are in on this, whether they are police officers or DAs or even mayors or governors or whoever it is that covers up or aids and abets these people that are actively acting against the United States of America will be dealt with. They will be dealt with. But while we're doing that, it's going to be a little bit scary. Okay, so that's the message that they want to tell you. And so let's talk about the 25th Amendment. Right now, I mean, we've all been asking, why aren't we doing the 25th Amendment? It fits so nicely to this situation. Of course, Pelosi and the Democrats in the House have picked it up and are trying to, they're trying to make a run with it, let's just say. But it's going to hit a wall with the Republicans. Here's what's happening. The Republicans they're very insular. You know what I mean? They want to deal with their problems out of sight of the public and within their own ranks. They don't like publicity. They don't like to tarnish the brand of the Republican Party. So what they're doing right now is they're trying to, believe it or not, they're trying to harness Trump. They're working with Pence to see if he can take over. I guess what I'm trying to say, what they're showing me is the 25th Amendment's not going to go through the way the channel normally works, where the House passes it and then it goes to the Senate and blah, blah, blah. But what is going to happen is internally, there's going to be a 25th Amendment. So internally with the Republican Party, they're going to get together and they're going to say, we're all losing our elections. And this president is taking a steroid. He's out of his head. We don't even know the viability of his health. We don't know the viability of his reelection. Maybe if we act now in a Hail Mary, last-ditch possible, chance of saving some of our seats, and to do that, maybe what we need to do is take the president out and bring the vice president in, and even intimate without saying, believe me when I say they have every intention of Trump not coming back. Every intention of Trump not coming back. But they will not say that because they're still worried about that 20-30%. If if they can win the election through the Electoral College, which is the only way Trump can win, because he's not going to win the popular vote. We know that already. But if they can find a way through the Electoral College and the courts to win the election, they'll put Pence as acting president, and then once that goes through, they'll just let him be president, and Trump will literally quietly go away. He will literally disappear. It'll be, he's in a hospital, and then you'll just won't hear anything from him. That's what they show me happening. Now, how likely is it that this whole thing is going to happen, that the Republicans are going to pull off a win with the Electoral College and the courts? Well, I hate to say it, it's a little closer than you might think, but I'm just reading the energy. Yikes. At this time, they are pulling some strings. I see them working behind the scenes to pull strings. And you know what that means. That means voter intimidation, maybe even election fraud. I mean, whatever they can do to hang on to power is what they're trying to do. But I just heard so it's a toss-up. So I hear Pence wins, Biden wins. When that happens, when they give me two outcomes that are completely opposite at the same time, it means it's a toss-up. But I do think that the courts, I think that it's so close that Biden will probably claim the win, and I do think that Biden will get it. But I do see it being a struggle, and I do see it being a fight. Now, imagine this, if you will. That happens on election day, or even 7 days after election day. They decide it's a toss-up and it's too close, but we're going to give it to one or the other. And that happens in the middle of Trump disappearing and being sick, and Pence possibly being sick, and then our Joint Chiefs of Staff, the generals, have all been exposed to COVID-19. Literally half of them are going four of them are going to be sick, are going to get COVID-19, whether it is a serious case or not, doesn't matter. It just means that they're taken out of the equation. They're not able to be there for the Joint Chiefs of Staff, again, destabilizing the government. So you can see how all of this happening at the same time is just going to be too much. It's just going to be, Americans are not going to know, the Democrats are not going to know, the Republicans are not going to know. That's going to make everybody have this sense of fear and overwhelmness that frankly, I feel the same energy as is around after 9/11, where, my God, anything could happen. We have been attacked, right? So that's the same feeling and energy that I get. So once again, I want to redirect you to what they said: follow the light, follow the light. Don't get, we can't necessarily we can't devolve into violence and into protest and a war. That's what certain parts of the country and certain energies want, is us to devolve into a war. Putin would like nothing better than for us to devolve into a war, a civil war. And that's how it's stacking up, right? With the Democrats losing, the Republicans losing, or winning and winning, and nobody knowing, and then all the uncertainty. And then COVID-19 is spiking at the same time. I mean, it's just going to be mayhem. It's going to be mayhem. But because I'm telling you, and the guides are telling me, follow the light. We're going to get through this. We just have to take it all apart. We have to go through this, because the destabilization is part of us moving through and dismantling the bad parts, the parts that don't serve our country or our democracy. So we're going to get through it. I see us being happy around the holidays, around, in December, all of the holidays that happen around that time. I see us being happy. I see us feeling relieved, like we've run a marathon and it's over, and thank God it's over. I see us being very relieved. I see Biden in the White House. I see Kamala in the White House. I I don't think a part of our country will ever accept them, or ever, they just won't ever accept them. They won't accept it. So we could even have Republican senators and representatives actually say, I'm not answering to them because they're not my president. They're not my vice president. That's where we are right now, guys. It's really crazy. I did not mean for this video to be so scary. I really didn't. When I do these videos, basically I'm just getting a download and I'm telling you what the download is. Let me tell you the 3 cards that I pulled from the Good Tarot by Colette Baron Reed. I like it because it's the Good Tarot. It's not quite as scary, and maybe I was drawn to that because somehow I knew this was going to be a scary reading. The first card that I pulled was Strength, which God knows we need, and we will. This is what's going to get us through. We have the strength. We have the durability to get through this. And then the next card that I pulled was the Hermit. And I think this is what they're saying as far as, look, you just have to get through it. Don't engage. Don't go out in the streets where it's going to be violent and get involved in that and let it devolve into a war. So I think the Hermit is stay in your house, know that the right thing is going to happen, be safe, take care of yourself, and just sit it out. The last card is really one of the better cards. I think it's a great outcome. 10 of Earth, we're successful. We've got all our, pentacles or coins there. It's a good ending. And that's the 3 cards, that we have here to help us understand what we're going through. And this has been a really long video, and I'm going to cut it off at that. I hope it was helpful. I hope it's not too dire, because really the message is one of hope and one of success. We have to do the hard work. It's hard work, and we have to do it. We have to disentangle and break apart these problems, these problem people, and that's what we're doing. So just say prayers for all of us in whatever religion that you practice. And I'm gonna end this and let you guys get back to your lives and take care, and I'll be back soon with more information. I do want to talk about COVID. My next video is probably going to be on COVID. It's a very touchy, it's just a very hard topic to talk about, but I'm going to do a video on it and see what the guides have to say. You guys take care, and we will talk again soon.